The Final Cut Pro interface can seem a little bit daunting at first. However, once you understand the basics of where everything is, you'll find that it's quite simple to find exactly the tool that you need. The interface is divided into three primary segments. In the top left, you have the event browser. In the top right, you have your viewer. And across the bottom, you have your timeline. Let's start with the event browser. The event browser is where you locate all of the footage that you have imported into Final Cut Pro. On the very left, you see a list of your hard drive, and then broken down by date, you'll see the events that you've imported. As you import footage, you can import it into an existing event or into new events. In this case, we're going to be looking inside this event called Alenka's Kitchen. Inside of the event, you can see that your content can be organized into folders, smart collections, and keyword collections. Whatever you select in the browser here, all of the content that matches that criteria will show up here on the right. If you're running out of space, you can easily hide this view by simply tapping this icon here. And then we're only looking at the content itself. You can preview the content by simply skimming your mouse over the thumbnail. How you view those thumbnails is also controllable. Down in the bottom right of that window, you'll see that there is a slider that allows you to see all of the content at once, showing you all content as a single thumbnail, or as you scroll this back, you'll see that you can start to view your content a little bit more zoomed in. Sometimes it's easier to look at the whole thing at once, or sometimes you want to get a closer look at each clip. To the right of that, you see a little switch that allows you to change the clip appearance. You can change the height of the clip, and also you can choose whether you want the waveforms to be displayed or not. To the left of this, you'll see that you can switch between the current thumbnail view or as a list view. The list view also allows you to see all the different keywords that are assigned to each clip. If you're looking for a specific clip, you can use the search window up here. To the right, you have your viewer. The viewer is where you see whatever content you're currently working with. At the bottom of the viewer, you have your play controls.
Pancakes.
You also have the ability to jump forward or backward a clip, or also to move forward or backward a single frame at a time. From here, you can also choose to view your content in full screen mode.
Dober tick. That's in Slovenia.
Tap the escape key to get out of full screen mode. To the right of the full screen button, you also have a looping icon. This will allow you to loop the content that you're currently looking at. To the left of the play controls, you have three additional tools: transform, cropping, and distort. When you have a clip selected in the timeline, you can access these tools. So if you need to reposition a clip, crop a clip, or distort it, you have access to that from here. In the top right corner, you can choose how you view your canvas. Do you want it to fit the entire window, or do you want to zoom out and see it just at 25% size, 100% size, or even zoom in farther? In the very top right corner, you have another switch which allows you to see different options. You can choose to display your video scopes, which, if you're doing color correction, can be very handy.
Yummy flavor.
You'll see that you have various options in here as well. You can view a histogram, you can view vector scope, or you can view the waveform. And you'll notice that everything is updating in real time. These displays will change size as well, depending on the size of your monitor. If you go ahead and change the interface, you'll see that they will change with it.
Now let's...
And if you ever want to hide that window, simply go back to the switch. If you'd like to reset your window layout, at any point you can go to the window menu and choose Revert to Original Layout. Underneath the event browser and the viewer, you'll find a strip of tools before you get to the timeline. Let's start over here at the left. This is a simple one-click icon to allow you to import footage. To the right of that, you have your rating tools, allowing you to mark a clip as a favorite, to remove any markings, or to reject it. You also have access to your keyword controls and your primary editing tools. From here, you can connect, insert, or append a clip to your timeline. To the right of that, if you click down, you'll notice that you can choose to do those controls to all content, video only, or audio only. And finally, to the right of that, you have access to your editing tools, your selection, trim, position, and so on. In the middle of this bar, we see a timecode display. By default, this is going to show the current time of the playhead. However, there are additional controls in there. If I have a clip selected on the timeline as I do here, and I tap the plus or the minus key on the keyboard, you'll see that that changes to show me the edit that it's about to perform. At this point, it says plus. Now if I type 1.0, it's going to move that clip 1 second forward on the timeline. You can always undo if you make a mistake there. To the left of the timecode, you'll see a little circle that currently reads 100%. If you tap on that, it'll open up the background tasks browser. This shows you all the background activity that's currently going on. This could be transcoding, importing, rendering, or more. If at any point you see this window showing anything less than 100%, you know that there's activity currently going on in the background. To the right of the timecode display, you'll see your audio level meters. As you play your content, you'll see these meters moving.
To add an extra yummy flavor.
If you click on that, you'll get a larger view of your audio waveforms over here on the right. Currently, you're seeing 6 channels of audio because this is set up as a surround sound project. If it was set to stereo, you would only see 2 meters in here for your left and right channels. To the right of the timecode display are a few more buttons that allow you to control your clips. If you select a clip in the timeline, this first tool will allow you quick access to your color controls and your audio controls. To the right of that, you can access your speed changes, allowing you to speed up, slow down, reverse, and pause a clip. To the right of that, you'll find a row of icons opening up various browsers that you have access to in Final Cut Pro. The first one is your video effects browser. Then there's the photos browser, the music and sounds browser, transitions, titles, generators, and finally, the themes browser. To the right of that, you have the inspector button. This is a very important button as this will open up the inspector view that allows you to see exactly what's going on for the selected clip. You'll see that you have access to the video and audio properties, as well as to an info tab that gives you all the information you need about a particular clip. Notice at the bottom of that, you have various views that you can choose from, and to the right of that, you have the ability to add custom metadata fields if you need to as well. At any point, you can close the inspector by simply tapping on the I button again. To close the browser, just tap on the little X next to it. Before we get to the timeline, there's one more bar between the timeline and everything else. This has a few more tools on it. The row of 4 icons here represent skimming, skimming for audio, solo, and snapping. Skimming is currently turned on, which means as I move my mouse across the project, you'll see the footage playing back or skimming in the viewer. However, the way it's set now, we're not hearing the audio skimming along with the video. If you'd like to hear the audio, simply enable that as well. And now, you'll hear your audio skimming as you move the mouse. Then you have your solo tool, which allows you to isolate the currently selected items. Let's say that you have a very complex timeline, and you want to focus on the dialogue here without having the music in the background distracting you. You can select that clip and tap on the solo button to isolate that. Now the only thing you'll hear playing back is that soloed item. Finally, you have snapping. With snapping enabled, the playhead will automatically snap to various edit points in the project. This can be very handy when you're trying to align different pieces up with each other. However, if you're trying to align something just a few frames off of the edge of another clip, you could find that the snapping gets in the way. If you disable that, now when you move your playhead over it, there's no snapping involved, and you can position anything exactly where you want it. On the other end of this bar, you'll see the title of the current project that you're working on. To the right of that, you'll see an icon that in this case represents that the object has been published, and to that, a little warning triangle telling me that the content has changed since it was last published. To the left of the title, you'll see 2 arrows, left and right, allowing you to step forward or backward through the timeline history. This is handy if you're working with multiple projects, or if you have compound clips inside of a project. Once you open a compound clip to go back to the previous point in the timeline, you can simply click on this arrow to move back. On the bottom right corner, you'll see that you have various timeline views. You can zoom in and out of your timeline like this. And you can also click on this view to change the clip appearance. Finally, on the bottom left, this will allow you to go back to your project library, showing you all the different projects that you currently have on your computer. Each one of these projects can be organized inside of folders, and if you have multiple hard drives, you'll see all of those listed here as well. Finally, you can create folders to organize your projects in, or create a brand new project here as well.